Defeating Trump without demonizing his supporters. How ironic. Trump was the Cthulhu candidate planted by Podesta. He was only supposed to win the Dixiecrat nomination. The Clinton News Network gave Trump free airtime. Bill Clinton helped him win primaries, something a political novice would not know how to do. Trump adopted a Don Rickles insult comedian persona in order to denigrate Hillary's other potential opponents, should he fail to win the conservative Democratic nomination, and to make him too obnoxious to win the general election if he did. Hillary was the true Cthulhu candidate. She was a vast right-wing conspiracy theorist on the 60 Minutes fluff piece aired when Bill Clinton's affair with Jennifer Flowers threatened to derail his 1992 candidacy. Though the Clinton team and its critics on both the left and the right emphasized the Tammy Wynette comment, it was the vitriol and persecution complex revealed by the vast right-wing conspiracy claim which has made a Hillary presidency unpalatable to the public. That vitriol and persecution complex was seen again in Hillary's assertion that she was proud of making Republicans her enemies. To this, she added vindictiveness with her many paraphrases of Julius Caesar, the great Democrat who overthrew the Roman Republic, threatening to kill his Republican opponents along the way. Pouting as resistance. Once Hillary lost, the Clinton machine pouted for her and instigated a resistance to reverse her loss, to overthrow the Trump presidency. To all but the most loyal Hillary supporter, this so-called resistance is seen for what it is, a temper tantrum by a petulant politician. The Clinton machine has manufactured a treasonous dissent and has propagated that dissent in their media. The Dixiecrats in their media have propagated a loyal defense of Trump, which is equally as disingenuous. The propaganda of both media are rooted in morality. To each democracy, a morality. To the Hillary democracy, Trump and his voters are evil, as are Bernie Sanders voters. To the Trump democracy, Hillary and her insiders are evil. The Hillary democracy attacks anyone who failed to vote for Hillary. The Trump democracy attacks Hillary's insiders, or as they call it, the deep state. Each democracy uses its morality to condemn people. It seeks acceptance of its morality by those it condemns. Failing acceptance, it demands punishment. The Hillary democracy cannot defeat Trump. The morality of the Trump democracy is accepting of a large portion of the population, even of former Hillary voters. The morality of the Hillary democracy demands submission to Hillary. When the Hillary democracy appeals to those who voted for Trump, for whatever reason, it implicates them in the transgressions of Trump, condemns them, and demands repentance. The conservative Democrat replies by accusing their liberal accusers of killing babies. You condemn me, I condemn you. The Trump supporter replies by noting how Trump conducts his personal life is irrelevant to doing what the supporters want. The Never Hillary voter replies that preventing Hillary's rise to power was their priority. Condemning Trump does not defeat him. Condemning voters for their past votes does not win them over. When you condemn Trump, you are likely to condemn voters. Voters instinctively realize this, and you will lose their vote. Non-voters will not become voters because you have not presented a positive case for your candidate, or because you have subjugated that case to your obsession with defeating Trump electorally. Arguably, the most damning objection to the strategy is that condemning Trump reminds people of the accusations made against the candidates they or their parents supported in the past. For example, Goldwater or Bill Clinton. What is Trump's game? The key to defeating someone is to know what their game is. If you best a golfer in a tennis match, you have not defeated them. Trump's game is not politics, nor is it golf. Trump's game is speculative real estate investment. If Trump loses an election, it is as meaningless to him as losing a tennis game is to our imagined golfer. However, if Trump loses his shirt on speculative real estate development, then he is defeated. Trump's attempts to avoid defeat in his game will end his politics. Speculative real estate development. In that game, land is bought and buildings are built on spec. The developed real estate properties are then either sold or leased at prices which were speculated to be likely before the buildings were constructed or the land was bought. If the price of the real estate development exceeds the cost of development, then the speculative developer has won. If instead the price of the real estate development does not exceed its costs, then the speculative developer has lost. A free market in real estate? Those ignorant of markets often quote Will Rogers in support of investing in real estate, despite actual conditions, because they are not making any more of it. In fact, they are increasing the supply of real estate all the time with clean fill and taller buildings. Now, each market has three prices for any product at any time: bid, ask, and trade. The bid price comes from the demand side, the ask price from the supply side. They meet at a trade price if and only if there is a trade. If any one of those prices is manipulated, then the market is not free. Will Rogers, a comedian, not an economist, ignored the manipulation of the demand side. The subsidized bids in real estate. The arguments made by agents for sellers that real estate is not affordable without a loan should be viewed with suspicion by anyone acquainted with markets. Are you offered loans to buy stock because they are not affordable without those loans? Clearly not. Are you offered loans to buy sneakers because they are not affordable without those loans? This is a trick question. The answer is yes. The credit card loans are not specific to sneakers, but include them with other consumer goods sold by a national retailer. The subsidized bids in sky-high jump sneakers. Imagine if the poor parents of school children yearning for sneakers promising sky-high jumps at sky-high ask prices did not have access to credit card, no questions asked, unsecured loans. Is there any doubt that despite the pleas of their progeny that everybody at school has them, the answer would be a sighing no. With those chorus of no's in the market reducing the bid prices for the sky-high jump sneakers, their ask prices would descend to the more earthly regions of less branded gear. With that thought experiment, we conclude that the only reason for the sky-high prices is that consumer lending is subsidizing the bids for the sky-high jump sneakers. A note about the bids of the affluent. The affluent, especially if rich, may not need lending for themselves in order to buy sneakers or even real estate, a fact presented in an attempt to rebut the thought experiment. That attempt is shown to be specious by the fact that the affluent would not need to bid at such high prices if the bids of the poor and the low income were lower. Not only do loans increase the prices of sneakers and real estate when they are used to make those purchases, they also increase those prices when they're used only to bid. Neither the sneakers nor the real estate are inherently expensive. They are made expensive through the loan subsidization of bids in those markets. Affluent bids in real estate. The affluent have a high income, but are sometimes not rich. Indeed, the non-rich affluent cannot outbid the mortgage subsidized bidders with cash. They thus resort to mortgages to bid on real estate that they want. The mortgages are themselves based on income, so absent bids from the independently wealthy, the winning bid comes from the potential buyer with the highest income. And that would be the affluent. The affluent want neighborhoods in herds as they patronize businesses in herds and send their children to schools in herds. These herds are termed the gentry. Winning at real estate. The winning strategy for speculative real estate development is to buy land in a neighborhood the gentry do not want, to build to attract the gentry, and then to sell to the gentry at the mortgage inflated prices. This gentrification depends on the mortgage and its income-based subsidization of bids. Without the mortgage, this strategy fails. How badly it fails depends on how much the bids are subsidized. To answer that, we need to deduce what the free market price would be. So here, a free market in real estate. As long as the mortgage is allowed to exist, there is no free market in real estate. The unsubsidized bids can, however, be deduced from the mortgage. Those are the down payments, what the bidder and thus the market can bear. In a conventional mortgage, the down payment is 20% of the mortgage subsidized bid. All of the mortgage subsidized bids would thus be a fifth of what they were in a free market in real estate. The cash buyer would only need to bid a little more than a fifth of what they did because their competition would only be able to manage a fifth of what they once bid. The effect on the rental process. The mortgage has so warped the mind of the public that they accept the absurdity of having to qualify for a rent based on their income. After all, they are not buying the place. However, their landlords have and need to pay their mortgage. Also, the tenant's alternative is to buy a place on the mortgage-infected market. The free market in real estate, which comes from abolishing the mortgage, changes this. Tenants decide for themselves if they can afford a place at the stated rent. Landlords protect themselves by asking for the first month's rent as a security deposit, like they did in the past. Effect on rents. Just as the free market in real estate reduces prices to a fifth, so it reduces what new landlords can afford to charge in rent to roughly a fifth of what they can now. Of course, maintenance, utilities, and service costs will not change, but are comparatively small. Old landlords can afford to charge rents corresponding to their less inflated prices, low compared to the last landlords to buy buildings in a mortgage-infected market. Tenants will face lower real estate prices as their alternative. So the change of the rental process returns tenants to the freedom to haggle instead of taking a landlord's asking rent as unchangeable. Effect on monopolization. In the mortgage-infected market, the mortgage lenders decide who can buy real estate. If you are qualified by mortgage lenders, that is the banks, you can enter the real estate market. If you are not qualified by mortgage lenders, you are barred from entry. This barrier to mortgage entry by mortgage lenders creates real estate monopolies. Abolishing the mortgage would remove that barrier to market entry and thus end the real estate monopolies. Since the real estate monopolies are also the dominant landlords in a local market, you see the realtor signs on the places to rent. They're not for buying, they're for renting. Their monopolistic control over apartments and storefronts would also end. Effect on hotel room rates. As the success of vacation room rental programs makes abundantly clear, hotels face competition from both homeowners and tenants. Municipal ordinances have proven ineffective, mostly because renting rooms to vacationers allow homeowners and tenants to reimburse themselves for the mortgage-inflated prices. The abolition of the mortgage and the consequent reduction in home prices and rents would enable vacation room rents to fall. The prices of newly purchased hotels would also fall. They're in a lower real estate price environment, allowing their room rates to fall. The competition at lower prices would reduce room rates to a fraction of what they were. Effect on current homeowners. None. If you stay in your home, its price is irrelevant. If you move, then the lower price of the home you are selling is mirrored in the lower price of the home you're buying. Effect on Trump. Since Trump is a speculative real estate developer and also a landlord using short-term leases in monopolized real estate markets and a hotelier, the abolition of the mortgage would cause his new projects to fail in much the same way as his casino projects failed in Atlantic City, force him to lower rents in his buildings to affordable levels, and force him to cut his hotel room rates to free market levels. This perfect storm for the abolition of the mortgage would defeat Trump in his own game. And nobody's being demonized by the abolition of the mortgage. We're just asking for a policy change, and it's not to hurt somebody on the basis of their character or what have you. No, we're not demonizing anybody by abolishing the mortgage. Therefore, the abolition of the mortgage defeats Trump without demonizing his supporters. The abolition of the mortgage. Now, how do we do it? As with any other public initiative, the abolition of the mortgage requires public support. It being key to a free market in real estate attracts conservatives. These are the free market, laissez-faire conservatives. It ending gentrification attracts liberals. These are all the people who are worried about gentrification. It does not repel anyone through personal attacks. To get there, though, we need the public knowledge. Public support begins with public knowledge. And that knowledge includes debunking the objections raised by vested interests, which I have done here. And so therefore, this presentation provides that knowledge and debunks those objections. Public knowledge and support. This presentation has been made into a video and post it on YouTube.com. You are watching that YouTube video, so it is this video now. When you share this video, you are increasing public knowledge of mortgage abolition. And when you like this video, you are gaining public support for mortgage abolition. So thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you for that too. The end of the Trump empire, that is.